Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright out there. As you may be able to pick up from my voice, I have not been very well. The streak was broken. I believe I haven't actually been ill since 2020, like before COVID. I may have had a slight tickle in the nose at some point in the middle there, I can't quite remember, but the last time I got properly sick from anything was like before 2020. And last week, Reno had this little head cold, just seemed like a little head cold, which I then noticed I was getting, and I'm like, nah, it won't get me, it won't get me. The next day, yeah, it got me. Jeez. And like fevers for days and stuff. So basically, I've just had the virus a lot of people have had. I wouldn't actually be riding yet. Part of the fact that our cooker gave up last night, so we're having to, as in the actual oven section, so we're having to get a new oven. It's not worth fixing this one. And we're adjusting our menu options to having a grill and hobs, which is why I'm going to the shops, which is why I'm on a bike and not at home. I haven't been dizzy in a couple of days, so I'm feeling quite happy to be on the bike now. And it's quite nice to have fresh air rammed through your face. Although it's probably just going to start annoying my hay fever or something just to make it worse. So yeah, that's basically why there's not been any uploads. I have though, while I've been out of action, been trying to set stuff up, and I do have my next first ride video of a bike I've never ridden before. I would have been doing last week or now, but I wasn't. Would have been, but then I got this, and not safe riding when you're that sick, not that you even feel like it, and especially when you're in charge of someone else's machine. I've got to be in good condition to do that and to make a good video, so it's worth waiting until I'm all better, and then I'll go do that. I've just remembered I actually do have a story to tell of something I learned about recently, and it lined up some dots for me to do with where I'm currently going and why there's been, well, it seems like the car scene has died there. So, as you know, I'm currently on my way to Tesco's to get food. Tesco's in Havant. There is a car channel, and I cannot remember his name. I think his name's Adam, who goes to different car meets, and they films all the modified car scene and people driving out. But what I'm getting to here is when I used to work for Loomis doing their social media, I was up there a lot, and I was always up there on Wednesdays. So I'd come back Wednesday night, and it would be late, and I'd go into Tesco's to grab something to eat or to grab a drink or something or whatever. And I'd nearly always come across about 10 or 15 modified cars, and they'd all be in there quietly, just sat, maybe some music on. They were always really friendly. Like when I used to, I think they started to, we'd recognise each other as it repeatedly happened. So I'd ride in, we'd sort of wave at each other, and it was friendly, and it was a nice thing. And then one day, about a year or so ago, these big boards were put up inside this Tesco's that say no antisocial behaviour, no revving your car engine, etc., etc. Basically plastered everywhere, and I never knew why. I'm like, well, did they just suddenly decide they didn't want the car? I mean, not that those people were doing that, and I'm not sure that they're not here anymore, but I don't see them like I used to, but then I don't come down here at quite at the same time. But what happened here was a very large car meet organised to go in the underground car park at the Tesco's up here on a Wednesday evening. It was absolutely rammed full of people. There was people doing burnouts, revving the crap out of cars, they're illegal cars. Just, the police were there. It was a complete shite show, because the thing is, they never got permission from Tesco's to hold it there. It's an underground private car park for people shopping on a Wednesday evening, and they decided that, well, maybe a trolley boy was like, oh, I think it's cool, or a cashier that was down there having a cigarette break was like, oh, I don't see a problem with it. That's not going to Tesco's and saying, hey, can we hold this in your car park? Because of course Tesco's would never agree to that. So that's why they had such a big reaction to it, because it was so disruptive, it was so ridiculous, it was completely just jumped on them. They weren't given permission. And the fallout from that seems to be that there is no modified car scene there that I ever see. As I said, maybe I'm just not seeing them at the right times, maybe they still are, but either way, it just goes to show this thing about car shows, or bike shows, or whatever, anything that chooses to meet and do its shenanigans on someone else's doorstep. It's really, really bad for the people there, because, as I've said, it could very well have ended any chances of the normal modified people who just sit in there comfortably and weren't causing a problem from being able to do it in the future. And I say, I am very much far from a party pooper. I love, I grew up in the 90s. I remember where I lived in Hayling, we used to have a custom car show at the Barley Mow pub, and in front of it people used to do burnouts, and the police were cool with that because that was the known thing and it was fine. I mean, I don't know if the police would be cool with people having a section to do burnouts these days, but as long as people were reasonable with it, there was no problems. But then there was never a crash back then, there was never arguments and fighting, there was never any problems with it. Not saying there is always with car meets, and obviously not all car meets should be tarred by the minority that ruin it, but the problem is, it seems like these meets are big enough that enough of the minority that ruin it are there enough to ruin it for the majority, because there's that much that happens. If it was just one or two instances, I don't think people will get so mad at it. I don't know, I think basically what I'm getting at here is it seemed like that car meet did nothing but hurt the car scene, and maybe a lot of the car scenes are doing nothing but hurting the car scene, to the point that the police are just going to, just disband everyone and have like a restriction in that area all the time. And of course, the sensible answer to this is have somewhere where people can do it legally and happily and freely, but that's just not going to happen unless you have private land, and that takes organising. And this is kind of why I've said about, people have said, why haven't you done another sausage fest? Even though it's a meet-up in a car park, when it's 300-400 people, I can't just dump that on someone without organising it, and finding a location that's suitable and makes sense is tricky now. I mean, it's not going to be done at Loomies, and anyway, the roads around there are just covered in average speed cameras anyway, so it kind of ruined the whole point of being able to go for a ride and have some fun in the area without causing any disturbance to the meet, because let's get this nip up here. Because, it wasn't a group ride thing, it was a meet up in a car park, go out on your own if you want. That is what got put up. These are the more permanent version of the temporary ones they had. This is a direct response to that one car meet. And they were never here through all the years of all the car meets people did where they didn't take the piss. As car meets live and die, as things rise and fall, the pasta salad lives on, pre-COVID to now. As I say, no hate. I think you guys get it. Like, things got a bit too much, and it wasn't organised properly, and it causes problems, and it shouldn't be that way. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll catch you when I'm feeling a bit better. Bye bye.